ASU compared to high school is a complete different ball game. It was a lot different. I wasn't ready for it. I thought I would be, but I wasn't. And when a teacher tells you that, this class requires 4 to 6 hours outside of class or 3 to 5 hours outside of class to study, they're not lying when they say that. It really requires that much time. And if you don't put that much time in, then you won't do good. But what the professor will do is he'll give you the first 9 chapters to read in the book, and this is what the midterm will be based off of. And the professor will sit there and he'll write tons of information on the board. I mean, tons of information, and it's all up to you to take that in. And believe me when I say those will be on your test. Before I started college, I wish someone would have told me that the professor won't care about your grade if you don't care about your grade. They'll say, these are my office hours, you're here, you're not. And if you're there, then they will take the time to, help you out and get closer to you. You have to want to do it yourself, because if you don't, there's so much free time in college where you're gonna find yourself wanting to get lazy. And that's where procrastination comes from.
As a first-generation college student, the transition to college was a little more difficult than I think it is for most people, just in terms of classes and academics, because I didn't know exactly what to do. A lot of times I didn't really have someone to ask, like, how do I talk to my professor? Like, am I allowed to email them? Can I just go into their office if I have a question? Where do I find my advisor? There were a lot of opportunities and services on campus that ended up helping me, and, a few that I wish I had known about in the first place. There's an entire office dedicated to first-year student success, and I kind of avoided it. What was really helpful for me was finding my advisor and getting to know them and being able to ask them questions. Kind of anything that I was nervous about, I could ask them, or at least they could point me in the right direction so I could ask someone else who knew. I wish someone had told me before I started college that it was okay to ask questions. That's really the biggest thing for me, was that it's okay not to know what you're supposed to be doing. Being the first one from my community to go to college, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me to kind of represent not just myself, but my mom and my dad and my brother and my sister and my neighbors.
My transition from high school to college was fairly easy. I did really well in high school. I graduated in the top 5% of my class, and then I did really well my first semester. And so I wanted to start getting involved in these extracurricular activities. I was doing student films, I was helping with the student productions, I was getting involved in some of the student-led organizations. Things were getting kind of serious with my new boyfriend on the campus, and eventually I think that I kind of began to lose sight of the academic side of college, and that was where everything started to roll downhill. I started to let some of my Barrett classes slide a little bit. My placement in the Barrett Honors College was threatened. So I had to reevaluate my life a little bit and focus on the academics more. I wish that someone would have talked to me and said something along the lines of, you're a great student that's going to do well in college. You might have an easier time transitioning than some of your peers are going to have, but regardless of that fact, you need to keep your eyes on the academics.